Hi, this is Dodger, and you're watching my show.
Three, two, one, ready, go.
Have you guys seen the Louis Vuitton video yet? The one from Paris Fashion Week where they use the Ghost in the Shell music? Those dudes love anime. It is not a secret anymore. So many anime references every year. They did the whole like Final Fantasy 13 thing. Also, for those of you who don't know, we just moved. And it's super exciting, but it means that I am all over the place and very tired. So if parts of this video make no sense, you know why. Couldn't fix it in editing. It was too weird. So for our first piece of anime news, I actually don't know how many of you are going to respond to the property Red Ash. Red Ash is a game that doesn't exist yet, that Keiji Inafune was trying to get crowdfunded, and it didn't work, and they didn't meet their goal, and so the game might not happen, but somehow an anime is happening. The whole storyline of the franchise is, not necessarily anything new. It's like, oh, some people are nanobot people and some people are humans, and you're on a journey as the lead character to not be a nanobot human anymore because you want to be a for reals human, and probably throughout the story you're going to learn to love yourself or something. The animation for this actually, you know what? With as many weeks in a row as I've been like, you know what anime looks like garbage? Berserk. This is another one where they're using entirely CGI animating, and I think it works for this. Because Berserk is like so dark and gritty and takes itself so seriously, right? Red Ash, and I don't know if it's because I know that it's originally a game or like a game idea, but it has more of a bouncy quality. It has more of like a fun, playful atmosphere to the color palette and the way that everybody's designed. And I think that the CGI actually like works hand in hand with that really well. So before any of you watch this video and are like, God, Dodger's such a hypocrite, I'm really excited for this anime because I think that it'll give this same idea a shot with a different property. And just from looking at the really small amount of trailer footage that we have, I'm excited for them to do this exact same thing but with something so different. Something kind of interesting is that NHK in Japan is funding an anime documentary series about different sports and different types of athletes. So it has an anime section, and then it has a section where they interview Olympians and they interview, you know, people who are experts in the sport and talk about what it takes and, you know, how many hours you put in and what sort of things you do, and just trying to sort of build the world around these different sorts of athletes and how they're all different. The very first episode is about swimming. The second one is going to be about track and field, I believe. But it's kind of a cool idea. Yeah, the anime is called Geniuses Without Glory. Really hope that when this airs, there's just like a couple of split-second frames from Free Iwatobi Swim Club that just like slipped in there somehow. Actually, you know what? I think I misread, and the second episode is about figure skating, so I'm sure we'll get a couple of different frames of Yuri on Ice in there too. And actually, you know what? I totally get it, because when you have a message that is so deep and so pure, you really, like, you can't lead with it, right? You have to let the audience find it on their own. So while they're pitching this show as being about, you know, athletes and the Olympics, and they have the anime section and they have the interview section, I think that at the end of every episode, really, we're all going to walk away realizing that the true joy in life is best friends. That's what sports anime has taught me. Miyazaki has announced that once again he is coming out of retirement. Hilariously though, the lead producer at Ghibli said, I mean, I don't know how he's gonna make that. So now I think a lot of people assume that if Miyazaki says, I'm coming out of retirement, then all of Ghibli will be like, yes, of course, sir. Of course, what do you need from us? But apparently that's not the case. Like, the people who work at Ghibli are basically saying, yeah, who are you gonna get to make that movie? Where's your team? With the general consensus being, you know, he says he's coming out of retirement, but until he's actually making a product, He's not out of retirement. He's just said that he is. Now, I feel like if Miyazaki just went on a God mic and was like, hey, I need some people to help me make a movie, a bunch of people would drop everything to go and work with him, right? But where does he get the funding for it? Who's gonna be producing it with him, right? If Ghibli doesn't necessarily want anything to do with it, which hasn't been confirmed, it's not like there's any weird animosity there or anything, it's just that like, Ghibli, the representatives at Ghibli keep getting asked about this movie, and they're like, it doesn't exist. Let me put it this way. Miyazaki said he would not make any more and would retire. So even if he comes up with a new plan, he is still a retired man unless the film is actually made. That's what I'm saying. I know I am being an unreasonable excuse. If he really starts working on production of his new film and finishes it, then we can say he is out of retirement. To tell the truth, we need a lot of staff to make a feature film. He's working by himself now. He needs at least 600 people. That's his concern. If we really decide to make a new film, I will announce it officially, of course. We just have not reached that point yet. So if you ask me, will you make it? I have to deny it. Honestly, I have nothing to announce. So to me, reading that, it sounds like, of course we're open to working with him, but you know, we have to do this in the correct way. We have to treat it as an individual dealing with a business because he's retired. So, you know, that doesn't change the way that things have to work, and we can't announce a movie that doesn't exist where, you know, production hasn't started at all on it. I'm sure plenty of people would love to see the next Miyazaki thing. I think that he's the kind of person who can't just like sit still, you know, with how many times he's been like, I'm done, but he's never actually done. I think that he just really loves to create things, and saying that he's gonna retire just decreases the pressure on him, right? Where he can just be like, ah, yes, I don't have to make anything. And then he's like, oh, wait, but I wanna make this thing. I honestly think that that's kind of what it is. And he's been in the business for so long, he understands what it would take to make a movie. So I don't think that he's going into it with any, you know, with any misconceptions. That doesn't make any sense either. But to announce that you're coming out of retirement to make a movie is like, it's not a joke, right? So hopefully he has a plan. Hopefully, just like all of his other movies, it winds up just being a blast. And maybe Ghibli's gonna wind up being involved and all of this hullabaloo was unnecessary. The next issue of Young Animal will feature the newest chapter for Berserk. That's right, it is no longer on hiatus, but we all know how this goes, and the potential for it to come out of hiatus and then immediately go back into hiatus is high. Atus. I just feel really bad for Berserk fans at this point because it's like this relationship where you keep going, all right, well, I know you're gonna leave again, but I love you. So March 10th, I believe, is when that comes out. So all of the scanlators across the land will sniff the air and be like, new Berserk? That's right, I said all of them. There was fuzz in my face. I didn't know that Young Animal was twice monthly. Berserk is supposed to be coming out twice a month? Oh, honeys. The entirety of Naruto Shippuden happened in the amount of time that it took for Guts to get on and off of a ship in the manga. So just to like give you an idea. Obviously I'm like paraphrasing that arc in a big way, but it sounds funnier like this. So if you're somebody who loves Berserk, there you go, keep an eye out. So for my recommendations this week, because there wasn't really that much news to talk about, I'm sorry guys, I'm going to recommend you an anime and a manga. My goodness. People often ask me what my favorite manga is, and it is Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga is so good. The art is fantastic. It's a action-packed, historical, just wonderful, beautiful story about Vikings. Super violent, but just so well written, and the characters are fantastic, and I love it. Highly, 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 highly recommend. For anime, and I know that this one is really recent, but every single time one of my friends asks, hey, what's an anime I should watch? Everybody in the world says, have you seen One Punch Man? Of course. I don't understand why more people, like so many people seem to have forgotten that Mob Psycho 100 even happened. And it's so good. It's like the art style in Mob Psycho is so much more similar to the original art of the webcomic. The like vibrant colors that happen and the way that it's animated, like the fluidity of certain moments. Oh my god, it's such a good anime. Such a good anime. So there you go. Go read Vinland Saga. You've got plenty to catch up on. And then go watch Mob Psycho 100. There is not quite as much of that, but it's great. And anywho, that's been my show. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being patient while we've been moving and doing all of this stuff. You guys are the absolute best. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you would like to watch my Twitch streams, I thought I was gonna burp and then I started to panic and then my mouth started to act weird. If you would like to watch my Twitch streams, you can find them at twitch.tv/dexbonus. And I think that that's about it. If this was your first video of mine, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you will click the subscribe button if you think that I deserved it, and maybe tune into a stream or two. And if you're a recurring viewer, thanks, bud. Y'all are great. I'll see you next time. Have a lovely day. Mwah. Bye-bye. Hi, Adis.